morning, Year 1. This is week 3 of The Little Red Hen. First, we have our do now. We are going to read the sentence together, and then you are going to edit the sentence. Let's read it with our big, loud, clear voices. Who will help me plant some grain? She asked. I don't want to, said the stripy cat. So I need your help to edit the sentence. Using your writing checklist, you are going to pause the video and you have 2 minutes to spot those mistakes. Off you go. Did you spot the mistakes? Fantastic. How many mistakes did you spot? 3 mistakes. Me too. Let's find those 3 mistakes together. So using our writing checklist, we are first going to find if we have our capital letters. So where do capital letters go? Can you tell me? Do they go at the end of our sentence? They go in the middle? Oh, they go at the start of your sentence. Fantastic. So the word who should have a capital letter. Does it have a capital letter? No, it doesn't. So let's change that. We need a capital W. That was our first sentence. Let's look at our second sentence. Does the word I have a capital I? No, we need a capital I. Does cat need a capital letter? No, because it isn't their name, it's just an animal. So we have all our capital letters. Let's take that off our writing checklist. Now let's move on to full stops. Where do full stops go? Do they go at the start of your sentence or at the end of your sentence? Well done, they go at the end of your sentence. So let's look at our first sentence. Who will help me plant some grain? She asked. Should my full stop go there? Yes, it should. Well done. Let's check our second sentence. I don't want to, said the stripy cat. And we've already got our full stop there, so we can take that off our list. Finger spaces. Have we got finger spaces? Yes, we do. Have I written on the line? Yes, I don't have any floating letters. Fantastic. This week is week 3 of The Little Red Hen, which means we are changing more parts of our story and we're being more independent with our writing because we're going to apply all the skills that we have learned from the last 2 weeks into our writing this week to make it the best possible story of The Little Red Hen. Now, this week we are changing the animals again. So last week you changed them to other farm animals, but this week you can change it to any animals you want. But think about where your story is set. If you set it in a zoo, you need to think of other animals that are going to be in the zoo. If you have set it in a garden, what other animals would you find in the garden? Or if you set it in a field, what other animals would you be finding in the field? So for my story, I picked a monkey, so I have to think of other zoo animals. Here are a bunch of animals you could pick from. We have an elephant, a hippo, a snake, a panda, a kangaroo, a bear, zebra, penguin, seal, rhino, alligator, monkey, camel, koala, tiger, lion, gorilla and giraffe. But you can pick whatever animal you want to. And now we have to pick 3 animals, not just 1, not just 2, but 3 different animals. So I'm going to show you how I write down my 3 animals on my vocabulary list. So I've got my vocabulary list, and the first thing we are going to be writing is about my animals. I wrote animals and a question mark. So I need to pick 3 animals that are going to be in my story. Now my main character is a monkey and they live on a zoo. So I have to think about animals that are going to be living in a zoo. So if you have chosen a garden, think about what animals would be in a garden or in a field. So it really depends on where your story is set. Mine's in a zoo, so I would like to think there's going to be a lion in my zoo. There's also going to be, what else could be in my zoo? I'm going to say a zebra. And I'm going to have a elephant. And notice how I've spaced them all out, and that is because we are going to add adjectives later. Now that you have seen how I wrote my animals down, you are going to have a go. So you're going to pick 3 animals. It doesn't have to be from this list. You can pick any animals you want to, and I bet you've got even better ideas than me. So I'm going to ask you to pause the video, and I'm going to give you 2 minutes to write down your 3 animals. Fantastic. Can you tell me your 3 animals? Well done. Now that we have picked our animals, we have to think of adjectives to describe those animals. Here I have a fox and I have a hedgehog, which could be animals I could pick today if I was writing about animals maybe found in the garden. Now, when writing adjectives, I don't pick 1, I pick 2 adjectives to describe my animal. Here for my fox, I said it was a fluffy ginger fox. I also said it was selfish and loud. For my hedgehog, I said it was small and spiky. And I also said it was a rude, tiny hedgehog. So notice here how I have 2 adjectives for each animal. Now here is a list of other words I could use to describe my animals. Remember that these animals are quite lazy, they're quite selfish, they're quite mean because they don't help your main character make their food. So you can't be writing they're a generous lion or a kind, helpful tiger. You have to think of words that are slightly negative because they are quite lazy. Now I'm going to show you how I write my adjectives for my 3 animals. I am going to put lots of different ideas because this will help me for the rest of the week, because each day I like to pick different adjectives for my animals. So here is how Miss Bainey writes hers. Now it's time to add the adjectives. Now when writing the adjectives, we have to think of 2 adjectives for our animals. So for my lion, I am going to say my lion is a fierce and golden lion. My zebra is lazy and with a little. And my elephant, it's going to be dirty and rude. So I've got my 2 adjectives. Now, this is where you can write even more adjectives, because for the rest of the week, we're going to be changing the adjectives each day. We have these adjectives now for our problem, but we also need different adjectives for our resolution and our ending. Now, you can do that on the day, but it might be easier now if you write down even more adjectives for the rest of the week. So I'm going to carry on writing my adjectives for the rest of the week. So for my lion, it could also be loud and stinky. And for my zebra, it could be black and white. My elephant could be a huge, very selfish And then I can do that one more time, but I will do that by myself, but you can also do another set of adjectives so you have all your adjectives ready for the week. Now that you've seen Miss Bainey write hers, I'm going to ask you to pause the video and I am going to give you 5 minutes to write down your adjectives for your 3 different animals. Have a go as writing as many as you can, ready for the rest of the week. Off you go. Have you written down your adjectives? Fantastic. That means we are ready to write our problem. Yesterday you wrote your beginning and your build up, and today we are ready for our problem. In our problem, your main character asks who would help me plant some grain. Now, we are not going to have the word grain because remember, not all of us are making bread anymore. You could be making a type of bread, for example, banana bread or something else, but you might want to say who will help me buy some ingredients if you're making a cake. Who will help me plant some vegetable seeds if you're making a vegetable pie, for example. So you're going to change your question. But you still are going to have 3 animals responding, I don't want to. And then she will do it or he will do it all by themselves because the 3 animals say no. Now, remembering what we done last week, you are also going to change the word said. So here I am going to write down my different words for said. So thinking back to last week when we changed the word said, I'm also going to think of other words for said. So I would like my animals to shout, so shouted. Remember it's the past tense, so we're adding ed. Maybe they screamed. Maybe because it's my lion, they could roar. They roared. Maybe they yelled. Now I could stop there, but I'm going to think of lots of different ideas to help me with the rest of the week. So I have a whole list that I can use throughout. So I'm going to just keep going. I also like the idea they could just replied. Maybe they also, let's have a think. So they roared, they yelled, they shouted, they screamed, they replied. They could also they shouted loudly. So those are my ideas for how they could reply. You could also add words like loudly to describe how they shouted. So here I've got a lot of other words for said to help me with my writing this week. Now that I have my 3 animals, I have my adjectives for them, and I have my different words for said, I am ready to write my problem. So you now are going to watch me write my problem now. So I have my story that I've written so far. I have my title, the beginning and the build up, and now we're writing the problem. I've also got my list of vocabulary that will help me with my writing today. I'm looking at my story map and I can see that my main character, which is my monkey, is going to ask a question in our story. She said, who will help me plant some grain? Now you have to think of a different question. My monkey is making banana bread and she's already got some ingredients for the bread, but she really needs those bananas. So I am going to say that she needs to ask, who will help me collect the bananas? So starting with capital W for who. Who will help me collect the bananas? Bananas. And because it's a question, what do I need at the end? Well done, I need a question mark. Who will help me collect the bananas? She asked Now I need my 3 animals to respond. They're all going to say, I don't want to. So I'm going to start here. I, capital I, don't, apostrophe, want to. And I'm copying this straight from my story map to help me with my spellings. And then, really important, I have an exclamation mark. I don't want to. Now looking at my vocabulary list, I am not writing the word said. I need to pick something else. I'm first going to write about my lion. So my lion is going to roar. So roared, copying my word there, roar. Remember, because it's past tense, we need to have our ED. I don't want to roared the. Now I need to think of 2 adjectives for my lion. I'm going to say the loud, stinky lion. So I'm going to tick that off my list as well. I'm going to tick off roared. So I know I've already used those. Roared the loud, ow, shout it out. Lion. I don't want to roar the loud, stinky lion. What do I need after my first sentence? A full stop. Fantastic. Now I need to do my second animal. They're going to say the exact same thing, so I can simply just copy it. I don't want to, exclamation mark, and now I look at my words. What word can I have? I'm next going to write about my elephant. My elephant is going to be quite loud today, so they shouted. Take that off my list. Shh. Ow. Shout it out. And then it's past tense. I need to add ED. Shouted the. Now I've got to put 2 adjectives for my elephant. Today, my elephant, because he shouted, they're going to be dirty and rude. So copy that. Well and twirl. Dirty. To the dirty, rude elephant. Then I need a full stop. Now I'm writing my last animal. My last animal is a zebra. They're also going to say, I don't want to. If you want to, because it's week 3 of our writing, you could maybe change I don't want to. If you want to challenge yourself, they could say something else if you would like. I don't want to, exclamation mark. What is my zebra going to do? They are going to yell. They yelled. Yelled. E-D. Yelled the... Now what adjectives I'm going to pick for my zebra? They're lazy. Very lazy today. They're lazy and they're little. So I'm going to take that off my list. Said the lazy little zebra. Full stop. No, we're nearly there. One more sentence now. Because they've all said, I don't want to, what is my monkey going to do? No one's going to help her collect the bananas. So she's going to have to do it all by herself. Very sad. So she did it all on her own. Full stop. Now I'm going to read my problem back to you. Who will help me collect the bananas? She asked. I don't want to, roared the loud stinky lion. I don't want to, shouted the dirty rude elephant. I don't want to, yelled the lazy little zebra. So she did it all on her own. I've got my capital letters for the start of my sentences. I have my full stops. I have my finger spaces. Notice how much pride I've taken in my handwriting. I've got finger spaces and I have written on the line. I haven't started in the middle. I've started right at the start of my line all the way to the end. I have my adjectives for my animals and I've got 2 adjectives for my animals. I've also changed the word said. I've got roared, shouted and yelled. And I changed my question to make sure it matched my different food that I was making this week, which was my banana bread. Now it's your go to write your problem. You can use a story map here to help you write your problem. So remembering, we are going to slightly change our question. We're not going to have the cat, the rat and the pig. You have your 3 different animals and you don't have the little red hen. You have a different main character. So there's lots of things that you're changing, but you can still follow the same structure of our sentences to help you. So using your vocabulary list you have made throughout the lesson, you are now going to write your problem. I would like you to pause the video and you are going to have about 15 minutes to write your problem, and then make sure you upload your problem to Seesaw so that your teacher can see your fantastic writing. Off you go.